Alrighty. Me. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Non-Classic. This episode number 2666 and Doubleshot number 2560. Excuse me. Unlike last night, I will be able to get both videos on tonight. We have two comic corners here with this one. Yes, this first one we were first discussing Showcase Presents Batman Volume 2. And like in the case when I did Volume 1, there will be skipping. Okay, so the book I collected from 359 Detective Comics to 375. Most of these are the Batman stories. Doesn't collect the whole story issue per se, just the Batman stories. There's back a feature at this point in time that is Elongated Man. It also collected Batman 189, the 200. Now, the following issues that are being skipped. Here are 359, 361, 363, 366, 367, and 369. Now, why am I skipping these issues? Well, the main reason why, because, they were discussed in, the Tales of Batman by Carmen Infantino. Yep, that's simple the reason for it. There's almost two Batman issues being skipped. You're thinking, really? Two? Yes. 193 and 198 are being skipped. And I'm also skipping issue 197. Now, why am I skipping 197? Because that was discussed when that was actually collected in the book that was collected in this very book right here, which I have done a review of already. Yes. Let's see if I can find it here. It was, it's Batman 197. It's basically, they put it just after 369. So here we're discussing mostly even number issues per se. Yes, so for Detective, I'm discussing issues 360, 362, 364, 365, 368, and 370 through 375. These are kind of weird ones per se. How weird? Well, the first one for the comics 360, it is mostly put just, people who just basically go the dial tone thing. Is anything worthy about this one? Not really, no. But there's some Batman books basically where they'll get to those. So in 362, the night Batman destroyed Gotham City. Yeah, it's basically going on a little rampage. I think rampage. Well, it's mostly it's a Riddler story. Thinking, really? A Riddler story? Yes, a Riddler story. And then we have two straight issues. No, these issues. No, the reason why I discuss these issues mostly is because not done by Carmen Infantino. These are done by Sheldon Mordoff. Who is Sheldon Mordoff, might ask? Why, he's a ghostwriter who worked for Bob Kane. This is more of his stuff here. And if you're curious, for a detective, how long did he stay in the book as the artist? Well, for Batman, he came on the book as the artist with issue 81. And he didn't finally lead the book until 261. That was his last issue, 261. And as a detective, he actually did Detective Comics 30 to 35. And then he did issues 200 through, mostly he did it up until about, he did it for quite a while. I think the last issue he did was 372. Then he did come back through 448, 440. Yes. So, 364, it's the Riddler. It's been mostly still do with the Outsider storyline. That's, they still did with that here. Is the Outsider revealed who basically what people guessed to be? No, not really. And then 360, actually just this one. 365, the host of Joker built. Yes, it's a Joker story. Where it's like the cover image is like basically like, oh, a Joker face and thugs firing guns at Batman and Robin. Yeah. and his goons are lazy and mooch. It's a interesting style story. The 7 Wonder Crimes of Gotham City. That's issue 368. Yeah, it's a very interesting one. It's just a quick mystery story. And then, of course, moving on to 370. The Nemesis from Boyhood. Oh boy, this guy here. Brett Lambert. Yeah, the thing with this guy is that he was Bruce Wayne's childhood bully who can beat people up, and apparently if people try to hit him, they just miss. Yeah, and I'm like, what? Yes, seriously. So, this guy beat Bruce Wayne as a kid, and he does it as an adult now. And when he fights him, like, the way you fight and the way you're built is like right somebody I know. And he gets knocked down and he's never seen it again. I'm like, what the heck was up with this issue? Yeah, and by the way, do they explain how the heck whenever he gets hit, it does not, hurt him? Not really. It's just basically on him, the way he moves. And of course, Batman says, how good a fighter, you basically talk too much. Yeah, that's indeed true. It is by far one of the most strangest stories from Batman I have ever read. In 371, which I'm going to skip this one because basically that was in Showcase Presents Batgirl. Yep. Yes, it was. And it's going to be the last one for a bit to skip because I think this also was the last time she actually guest starred because I think with 384 she came out featured the book, which I had discussed already. In 372, it's basically Batman versus a bunch of kickboxers called the Fearsome Foot Fighters. Yes, not Foo Fighters, Foot Fighters. Oh yeah, and this is a John Byrne written issue. It's a pretty interesting one per se. And then we have 373 with Batman vs. Mr. Freeze. It actually was the first time he became Mr. Freeze. Yeah, that's the big thing about this one, is the fact that that's the most noteworthy thing about this issue, is the fact that previously Mr. Zero, and it was also noteworthy for being the first appearance in 10 years. He was a one-shot villain who debuted prior to this as Mr. Zero, and then, because the Batman TV show, they renamed Mr. Freeze, which, yeah, that's a better name. So, but he actually made a debut in issue 121. Yes. Or back then, he was known as Mr. Zero. Yep, and then 374, you're like, oh, is Robin dead? Not really, no. It's basically people, have these two brothers who basically tend to have, because they're identical brothers, they basically try to cover each other. Yeah, it's a very interesting one. I don't really have an issue with it at all. And then we have 375, the last discussed detective. It is mostly put just a guy, it's basically some guy turns to crime for a single issue. He kills up by the end of the issue. It's a pretty sad story for what it is. Now, you're thinking, okay, so what about the Batman issues? Well, we got some historical feats for these ones. For Batman 189, this book is known for two major things. Number one is the debut of the Earth 1 version of the Scarecrow. This is technically the first time the Scarecrow appeared in comics in 15 years. His previous appearance was in the Comics 73. Yes. And also this issue is noteworthy for one big thing. One of this Batman comics that I have noteworthy here. This issue's debut at the Batcomputer. Yep. The Batcomputer made his debut in this very issue. Yeah, and it's also the first appearance of the Fear Toxin. You know, the famous gas that Scarecrow that usually uses. Yep. Yeah, previous appearance was in 1943. And this came out in 1967, so... You're thinking, wait. 67, so 1943 was... So, 24 years? Yeah, and here's the thing. He only appears twice. And basically what they do, they basically retell World's Finest number 3. Yes, seriously. That's literally what they do. They basically retell the whole story. Maybe because maybe people forgot about the story. I don't know. But I do like the story. And then we have a Penguin story, and this is a joke basically because it's the late 60s. Let's be campy. And let's have Batman and Robin just pull their fist toward Penguin's face and then punch him. You're not the only one. Oh, yeah. It's a silly Penguin issue. It's not really like... So apparently, this was an issue that basically where Julie Short's the editor, who actually started off the Silver Age, printing letters from fans who find camp style Batman over top story of Batman comics. Which, why would you do that for? Oh, the artwork is by Chris Stone, not that by Bob Kane's Ghost Rider. In 191, it's like Batman must sell out. Yes, seriously, sell out. Yeah, and those are thinking like when is the Outsider storyline officially wrapped up? That actually is wrapped up with issue 356. Yeah, that's officially when that storyline gets officially wrapped up. That was revealed that apparently was revealed to be Al Pennyworth. Yeah. Yep. And Harriet, well, it seems as though like once Alfred came back, it's like she slowly got rid of the comics. Yeah. By the way, Into the Comics 373 was was second last appearance for quite a while. Batman, she appeared a handful of times. After she won anyway, she appeared again to 208, and she appeared a few more times after that. Yeah, Dick Grayson's aunt. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the backup story. The front story is actually quite interesting. It's just basically Batman trying to sell out. Turns out basically, it turns out the reason why was because apparently all of his equipment, including the bat suit, was radiated. Though he's cured at the very end. 192 is the people try to predict some of crystal ball stuff. Like, really? Yes, really. And by the way, you might be thinking, is this collecting the circumstance Robin this feature? Yes. Though I think it's the Great Secret Garnets are probably the one to collect here. Yeah, these criminals predict stuff with his crystal ball. It's a weird story per se. Yeah, and this book featured the return of a guy called Johnny Watts, who debuted in his comics 344. Yes. Who makes one more appearance after this. Oh, don't worry, we will get to that next time. We'll get that next time to discuss Batman stuff. So, skipping straight to 194. It is also Batman vs. Blockbuster. Now, those of you thinking, is Blockbuster's debut? No, that was 345. Now, this book also has, so the way to stop Blockbuster is to get this. So, Batman reveals identity to him, oh, you're Bruce Wayne. And then he goes in the swamp, oh, you're my friend Solomon Grundy. And you're thinking, what? How the heck does a character like Blockbuster know Solomon Grundy at this point, Alan Scott villain? They met during one of the JLA JSA crossovers. That's how they became friends. No, seriously. That's literally how it would happen here. And we also back in story of Mystery Analysts of Gotham City. Just another story for them. You might be thinking, is this their final ever appearance? No. They would appear a few more times after this. The next time appear until 208. And then 195 is like a see-through guy. Bag of Bones. The Carnatonic Man. Yeah, this technically was this guy's debut appearance. Look at this guy. It looks like he was basically a prototype version of Dr. Phosphorus, who debuted in the 70s. Yes, and then we have issue 196. The opening story is The Psychic Super Sleuth. There's also a backup story called the Paralline Perch Puzzle. You're thinking, is this a Riddler story? Not really, no. It's basically Batman versus some one-shot villains. It's a good mystery tale. SK 197 and 198 because it's a reprint. 199. It's like Batman, like, looking for a comic and he can't find exactly what he looks for. Yeah. Rembrandt Dickens. I wonder if he's related to Charles Dickens. Yeah. And then the backup story, the air stories in here are like, it's like the Seven Sets of Face is the definitely original story. It is mostly put just looking for stolen art. And then the other two stories are just, well, the Operation Escape is a reprint. And then 200, this is a very noteworthy issue. Aside from the fact this is 200 issues, the cover, this actually is the very first Batman cover done by the late Neil Adams. Yep, he did this very cover. Yes, there's Neil Adams' very awesome cover. Yep, he would do this cover. Now, the story is called Man Who Radiated Fear. Yeah, it's a Scarecrow story. Excuse me. So, and then we have in this issue, the Fear Toxic little development where the first appearance is pills. Not as gas, it's basically pills. And it's a pretty good story. Never telling a Batman's origin story, which is fine. Yeah, it's been a bit, so yeah. Great books here. I would say of the two books in particular, I'd say at this point in time, Batman had a lot better stories with it than Detective did. Detective had pretty okay stories. I would say I would put the Batman stories for Detective because they're good, but I think Batman stories are a little more interesting. That's just my opinion anyways. But I'm going to give the book roughly 8, 9 out of 10. Alright, next up is, well, I've kind of discussed the series already. Things discussing the two traits and the backup feature Batman Black and White. We have Gotham Knights. Yes. You're thinking, really? Batman Gotham Knights? Yeah, this is the series that replaced Shadow of the Bat because I figured though, why not finish like why not do the same way I did with Shadow of the Bat I did with this one like Shadow of the Bat. Just discuss some issues, do like a few rounds, and that's it. We have Batman Gotham Knights. Yeah, Darren Grace is off the title. Now, all these issues are written by Scott Beatty. Thinking, Scott Beatty, wasn't he an artist? Yes. The opening story here is called Tuberosa. It's basically 33, I think like 38, I think it is. Yes, this is a feature where it's a Bane story. And here's the thing about these issues. The backup stories for issues 33, we're going 33 to 49, with the issues for Batman Gotham Knights. Here's the weird thing about these issues. There is no trade that collects these. Really? Yeah, none. Tuberosa itself, well, first, basically, yeah, it starts issue 33, and it wraps up with issue 36. It's a story that features Batman working with Bane for a story, which is kind of weird. But I like the concept here. Basically, kind of, also, we deal with Return of the Corrosive Man. Yeah. Which I think is one of his last no appearances the day before he just disappeared in comics. Yeah, I think this was his last appearance. Yes, this one comic book was his final appearance. Yep. But I do enjoy it. What this arc brought to the series. Mike Collins does the artwork for this story, which is really good. Bill Sienkiewicz does the inking here. Yeah, I found this story to be a lot of fun. Plus, I love basically the cover for issue 34, the new dynamic duo, Batman and Bane, which I think it's so cool. I really love this storyline. I didn't find anything bad with it. Just a lot of fun. And then we move on to the standalone stuff, where in 37 it's basically focused on spoiler. It seems as though one thing I did notice, though, I noticed before, apparently it's like either retelling stories from before, or, excuse me, it seems like this book more like an anthology book. Because issue 37 is basically focused on spoiler, where things that she's not needed, per se, but I do find the story, I actually really enjoy the spoiler story. Oh, and by the way, the arc about Roger Roberts, this is the first nail issue in quite a while. And then we have a story arc known as Knight's Move. It's a Huntress story arc. Yes, the Huntress. I know it starts in 38. I think it wraps now 39. Believe it or not, I think it's 39. I think it is. 39 is noteworthy for being an issue that had, not 39. It's it was one cover here with the Majo classic cover. And I think it's a quick 2-parter. 3-parter, okay. I think it's like 4-part. I remember it was like a few issues. Yeah, it's basically just a few issues. And then we have where issue 41 is called The Rubber Soul. It's basically guest appearance about an elongated man. And supposedly bad news about Alfred in this issue. Doc compresses the arc. And basically, Venom issue's all about Alfred. If you look at basically the image of Wikipedia for basically Alfred in issue 44, this is the image you get. I think it's 44, isn't it? It's 42. Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to Alfred. If you look at basically any image of it, like you type Wikipedia, this is the image that comes up for him. Which, by the way, the guy who does this cover artwork for these issues is Brian Boland. You're thinking, wait, the guy who did the arc for Killing Joke to this one? Yes, he did. Yep, he does the cover for this one. Yeah, it's mostly put basically about Alfred possibly dying, but... And then, of course, with Aaron Langstrom. Who is Aaron Langstrom? Well, he's basically, well, Kurt Langstrom's son. Yeah. And then we have Knight's Past, which, this is the issue with the cover homage to 369 debut of Batgirl. Yep. Yeah, and the Huntress one, that is Night Move. And then it's basically Night's Past. Where it's kind of, in a way, the best way to describe this story, it's basically a flashback story. It also to do with Commissioner Ekins, who in the story gets a chance to meet Alan Sky. Is like, I used to be Dakota when I was a kid. I thought it was quite cool. And, of course, we have guest appearances in storyline by, well, Query and Echo. Who are these two? Riddler's henchwoman. No, seriously. Yeah, it's a quick guest appearance for them. They mostly put our creation of Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. Actually, they were afraid about Neil Gaiman and Bernie Moore. I thought that, well, never mind. Yeah. And of course, it involves Man-Bat in the story and a little bit of Two-Face. I do like the story itself, the whole Knight's Past. It's a quick 3-parter. And the last few issues is like, oh, Scared Straight. Yeah, it's basically dealing with Bane again and dealing with the Spook. Yeah, the Spook. An old enemy of Batman who got killed off during Batman R.I.P. Actually, it was during, well, the storyline that debuted Damian Wayne. Yeah. It's like trying to spook him and, of course, deal with the apparent return of Bane. And it was also these issues where, like, Nightwing does a simulation where he actually picks up Bane, who, by the way, is heavier than he is, and proceeds to break his back like Bane did the Batman Nightfall. Yes, seriously, Raj Robinson did this in these issues. Also in these issues, we actually find out that Bane's father is King Cobra. And he's shocked to hear that. The fact that basically Bane is his son. And then we have a 2-parter known as Virtus Lambert, which is basically more Bane stuff here. And of course King Cobra. which that's kind of everybody wraps a quick little story with them. And of course, 49 is like the end of Bane, the Redeemer. Like King Snake, he gets killed off in this issue. Yeah, he gets killed off here. Is it sad the fact he died? Yeah, it's a very sad ending, but yeah, but it's an excellent story arc for Bane. I love the fact that a lot of this should focus on Bane himself. And then the book goes downhill with the Hush Return story arc, which we'll discuss next time. Yeah, that's kind of what happens with this one. But I would say, of these issues, Tuberosa was really good. I didn't find any issue this book be bad. No, not really. Uh, yeah, I give this book roughly. I give these issues roughly 9.5 out of 10. Next guest Batman Gotham Knights will be Hush Returns, a really bad story arc. I'll discuss that another time, but I'm not discussing it right now. No. So that's pretty much a particular view. Next up, we have another comic corner. Okay, so please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and do not hit that dislike button. Okay, next video. Bye.